Hey nerds, today I will review my What If Season 3 rankings starting now. Welcome back to the Nerd Social. I am Colin. What If just concluded its 3-season run, and I would say that there's some very above average episodes in this batch, but the quality of the story is not as good as seasons 1 and 2. In season 1, you had really memorable episodes like What If Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? What if zombies, which they're going to do a 3-4 episode arc later on next year? And What If Ultron won? That complemented really solid episodes that they had with Captain Carter, T'Challa being Star-Lord, and other episodes from season 1. In season 2, there were also other standout episodes like What If Nebula joined a Nova Corps, What If Kahori reshaped the world, and What If Hela found the 10 rings, which I found to be the most standout episodes of season 2. There were other ones like the Christmas one that was pretty amusing as well. But for season 3, I think the episodes were not as memorable or stood out in my mind. But maybe over time, there might be 1 or 2 episodes that will reach my consciousness, like the episodes I just mentioned in seasons 1 and 2. In terms of rating, I'll give season 3 a 7, which is a dinner party. I think that it's worth a watch if you're a completist like I am, but otherwise, I think the stories are a little bit underwhelming and a little less compelling than in seasons 1 and 2. So without further ado, I am going to present my rankings of the episodes from What If Season 3. If you like what we have to say about What If and other content we put out there, please like, share, subscribe for more. We really appreciate your support. And thank you for all of those that follow us on all of our social media platforms. So without further ado, spoilers ahead. So my number 8 episode had to be the last episode, which was titled What If, What If? I think that it really veered into the unfathomable, the impossible. It also veered toward the Matrix Revolution, Matrix Revolutions, the end part of it with the head-to-head combat between the Watchers. I don't know how much that accomplished because there was no consequence after that. I think that the only consequence was that Captain Carter passed away, sacrificed herself for the members of the team. The other thing that really concerned me was that they had a picture of the Guardians of the Multiverse, but where were they? I think that they had a new team of Guardians of the Multiverse, but they didn't set anything up besides the fact that Birdie is the offspring of Darcy and Howard the Duck. And that was it. Other than that, how Kaori got involved, how did Storm get involved in this? It didn't really give us a backstory as to how that transpired, and also what happened to Gamora, because Gamora was going to be a big part of the Guardians of the Multiverse, but she didn't appear pretty much after season 1, and we were promised that. So it just didn't make any sense for this episode and this series to end like this because there was no consistency. If you're trying to tell the consistent story of the Watchers, it wasn't consistent in the first place. My number 7 episode was What If the Emergence Destroyed the Earth? And this is the episode where Tiamut appears and destroys the Earth. Quentin Beck takes over Stark Industries, and Riri Williams is the one that is responsible to stitch the world back together. I think that this was much more of a mismatch of characters. They just put it into a blender and say, here we go, this is what's going to come out of the blender, with Wong, with Shang-Chi's aunt, Okoye, and Valkyrie. So the secondary characters that become part of this world to try to take down Quentin Beck. How did it end up being Riri Williams was the one that was going to be the hero of this? It didn't make any sense to me because it doesn't have any consistency from what we had in the first 2 seasons. And for those trolls that are out there, they say, why is she in this? I don't want to diminish the fact that she was in this, which was great that she was in this, but at the same time, I think that it leaves a lot more to the imagination, and also it invites all the trolls to come out to say, oh, we don't like this because of her. And I just think that really doesn't advance the conversation at all. And I think that it it really diminishes a lot of the accomplishments because of the toxicity that might appear online. And so I think that there's a fine line between being safe and also having diverse stories, but the writing has to be worth it in order for the story to be told. My number six has to be What If Howard the Duck Got Hitched? So I do give credit to this story because there was some carryover from season two with Party Thor coming in and disrupting everything on Earth. And so what ended up happening was that Darcy and Howard the Duck get hitched and they end up protecting an egg. Even though some people might hate the storyline, even though they might refer back to the 1986 Howard the Duck movie, which was cringy at best, I think that it doesn't win over a lot of the audience to have this pairing come together. But it was really interesting to see Jotunheim again and also to see Loki in his natural state. So that was pretty cool for this episode. This is my number five, which was What If Agatha Went to Hollywood? I think this is a really good premise. Agatha is such a theatrical character, a showstopper. It made sense to pair her with Kingo as part of the Eternals, and also Howard Stark being like Howard Hughes back in the day with all the big movie productions and wasting all the money. I think the dance routines were excellent. The dance off was really cool as well. And so there were some really good things that did happen in this episode, which I really liked. My number four has to be What If the Hulk Fought the Mech Avengers? Definitely a ripoff of Godzilla. Definitely a ripoff of Voltron. The story itself was really interesting in that they had to create these mech machines in order to counteract the ultimate Hulk that's out there. And also involving the story of how instead of Steve Rogers meeting with Sam Wilson, it's Sam Wilson and Bruce Banner meeting each other. And so there was some good elements to that. I think that it was a little too convenient to make it a kaiju fight, but in any case, they were trying something. Whether it hits with audiences or not, it hit with me. It's really cool to see the different mech Avengers that were there with Monica Rambeau, with the Red Guardian, with Moon Knight. So it was really cool to see them in different iterations within the What If universe. My number three has to be What If the Watcher Disappeared? I think reintroducing Infinity Ultron was really cool. He was a very scary character back in season one. Like, ultimately gave me chills to see Infinity Ultron and then seeing him reduced to this way of life where there's nothing left, and then having this radical idea of them trying to get him to find their way into the fifth dimension was a very interesting plot line throughout, so that he was a big part of this episode. My number two was a pretty comedic, I would say. What If Red Guardian stopped the Winter Soldier from killing Howard and Maria Stark? I think this was really amusing because I think part of it is the Civil War is is my top five of MCU movies. I think it's number three, I believe. So having them tie back to Civil War was really cool, and having the Red Guardian, who's a very comedic character, basically having a buddy comedy with Winter Soldier is pretty awesome. I think that they play off each other very well in this, much more so than Sam and Bucky in Falcon and Winter Soldier and also in Civil War. So having that type of interaction between the two was definitely a good pairing. Out of all the things in these episodes, this was very memorable pairing to have. And my number one has to be What If 1872? Cowboy Western with an Asian guy in it. So we've seen that with the series Warrior. We have seen this mentioned with what Bruce Lee wanted to do in the past. Shang-Chi pairing with Kate Bishop was pretty cool. The Hood was involved here as well. And the twist of the Hood's identity was pretty cool. Incorporating some parts of Chinese American history was pretty awesome. And the young man that was in this episode, Kwai Jun Fan. Jun Fan is basically the given name of Bruce Lee. So that was a really nice ode to Bruce Lee and also martial arts, having come up with this Chinese man that's in the Western. Definitely, this is Marvel's interpretation of it, but I really appreciated that they had this up their sleeve. So those are my rankings of What If Season 3. Tell us, what are your rankings overall of the season? Please comment down below. Like, share, subscribe for more content like this. And we will see you in the next video. All right. Take care, everybody.